Ladies and gentlemen, it's me again. Okay, so today we'd like to talk about the very famous Lanlan Yang's case. It reopens. It's regarding wealth, rumor, and reckoning. So first, welcome back to the show, and where news meets humor. This is what we do. And every scandal is a fair game. Tonight, we're taking a deep dive into the story that sounds like a Netflix script. A midnight crash in Sydney, a Tiffany blue Rolls-Royce, and a mysterious 23-year-old heiress, and a courtroom that's become the hottest ticket in town. Grab your popcorn, and because the Lanlan Yang case is back in court, and the plot twists keep on coming. So let's settle the scene. Picture this. It's 3:30 a.m. on chilly Saturday morning in late July, and the streets of Sydney upscale Rose Bay are nearly empty. The harbor breeze is barely rustling the palm trees, and suddenly a luxury SUV barrels across the center line. According to multiple reports, 23-year-old Lanlan Yang is behind the wheel of a custom Rolls-Royce Cullinan, a machine that cost more than most American houses and was painted the eye-popping Tiffany blue. At the exact the same moment, a Mercedes van is heading the opposite way on New South Head Road. The van's driver is George Lazarus, and the longtime chauffeur for Australian radio personality Kyle Stentinens. Witnesses say young Lanlan, Miss Young's SUV drifts into the oncoming lane. It means the opposite lane. And there is a sickening crunch of metal, and both vehicles are destroyed. So what's after the impact? What happened next read like a thriller. Emergency services work for up to 30 minutes to cut Lazarus out of the wreckage. He's rushed to the St. Vincent Hospital with a broken spine, ribs, hips, and femurs, a ruptured spleen, and diaphragm, and even a torn abdomen. So the injuries are so severe that he ultimately loses his right hip joint and faces a long road to recovery. So miraculously, Young is unharmed. Police perform the roadside breath test, and result is positive. When she's taken away to the Waverley police station for formal breath analysis, she refuses the test. According to media accounts, the CCTV footage appears to show Young checking on the injured driver through the van's passenger window, leaving the scene briefly and returning with another person. She is arrested and charged with causing this is bodily harm by misconduct, being in charge for a motor vehicle, and refusing or failing to submit a breath analysis. So what about the bail and the mysterious millionaire? Here is where the story takes a wild turn. Young is granted conditional bail the same day, and there is no money involved actually. She surrenders her passport, promised to report to police 3 times a week, and agrees to a nightly curfew, and is banned from driving anymore. So, however, the Chinese social media, explodes with rumors. Some posts claim she has 70 million Australian dollars for bail, and others insist she has hundreds of billions in the bank. Officials publicly deny the sky-high bail stories, emphasizing that there was never any monetary bond. And but by then, Young has become an online sensation. She's labeled as the mysterious Harris, trust fund kid, and my personal favorite, a Tiffany blue Tara. Photos show her wearing Chanel jackets, vintage hats, and Miu Miu sunglasses, flanked by a bodyguard, as she reports to the police station. And her Rolls-Royce is adorned with limited edition Labubu doors, and she reportedly on the second unregistered white Rolls-Royce Ghost worth around $800,000. And she lives in the penthouse in the posh posh suburb is called Vaucluse. So yeah, she had no social media accounts, no public business records, or no verified family connections. The combination of money, mystery, and the serious crash creates a perfect storm for gossip. So what about the first court appearance? On August 15, the Downing Centre local court in Sydney looked like the premiere of a blockbuster film. Approximately 100 people, many of them Chinese students and curious locals, lined up to catch a glimpse of the woman. They've been discussing on, like Chinese version of Twitter, Weibo, and TikTok. So Yang doesn't show up in person actually. Yeah, she's afraid, and she appears on the video screen wearing a chic bucket hat actually, and tailored suit. All very expensive. She looks really expensive, and the entire proceeding lasts about 10 minutes. Prosecutor formally charged her with driving a motor vehicle furiously, recklessly, or at a speed or in a manner dangerous to the public, causing bodily harm, and a Tier 1 offense under the New South Wales law, and with refusing a breath analysis, of course. So her lawyer tells the court she is not in a position to enter a plea because police have indicated additional charges that are coming. The case is adjourned until September 26. While the legal process crawls forward, the gossip machine accelerates. Chinese commentators speculate that Yang is the daughter of a high-ranking politician or a business tycoon. Rumors range from she's related to former Chinese President Yang Shangkun, or she's Xi Jinping's secret daughter. None of these claims is verified. And even the British tabloids joined the frenzy, publishing photos of Yang withdrawing stacks of $50 bills from a Sydney ATM. In August, the BBC publishes an article reminding readers that the giant bail payment is a myth, and cautioning against believing unverified, these are unverified internet stories. But the combination of wealth, secrecy, and expensive cash keeps the hashtag trending. And then recently, the return to court. So return to court means fast forward to September 26. The case is transferred to the John Madison Tower in Sydney's legal precinct. And this time the crowd is smaller, about 30 seats in the public gallery, mostly filled by Chinese students and curious locals. Still the same. And Yang is again absent. She doesn't even appear by video. Instead, her barrister, her lawyer, John Korn, stands alone at the bar tables. The prosecution announces that one of the earlier charges, the conduct causing bodily harm offense, is being withdrawn, which is to many people's surprise. In its place, police have filed a new charge of negligent driving, causing grievously bodily harm. Yang still faces the more serious charge of dangerous driving, causing grievous bodily harm, as well as charges for failing to provide driver or vehicle particulars, and refusing or failing to submit a breath test for the alcohol, of course. And Korn tells the reporters outside the court that he only had just received the final charge sheet and needs time to discuss it with his client. The magistrate, grants a 3-week adjournment, still adjourned, and sets a new hearing date for October 17, at which Yang must appear in person. So a lot of people will finally see the true face of Yang after 3 months. So legal analysis point out that the prosecutor often file a serious charge and the lesser backup charge at the same time. If the evidence supports a conviction for dangerous driving, Yang could face a maximum of 7 years in prison. If the case is reduced to negligent driving, the sentence is much lighter. Maybe first-time offenders often receive 9 months or less. The next hearing will also review what evidence prosecutors have, including the results of her initial breath test, data from vehicle computers, and any CCTV footage, from the scene. So let's dive more into why the prosecutors dropped some charges. The prosecutors told the court that the original allegation of causing bodily harm by misconduct with a motor vehicle was being dropped and replaced with a lesser allegation of negligent driving causing grievous bodily harm. So legal analysis notes that it is common for prosecutors to file a more serious court alongside a lesser alternative. So they can still secure a conviction if the evidence doesn't fully support the higher end charge by withdrawing the initial count and adding negligent driving. So they ensure that the charge better fits the available evidence and while maintaining the more serious accusation of dangerous driving causing grievous bodily harm. So the more serious one isn't dropped. And what about the public reaction and cultural, there was some tension. The spectacle outside the courthouse provides a fascinating glimpse into the way social media shapes public perceptions. At the first hearing, many onlookers openly admitted they came not out of the sympathy for the injured driver, but to see how rich this family really is. Others worried that the case would reinforce stereotypes about Chinese international students being wealthy and untouchable. The fact that Yang drives multiple Rolls-Royce and lives in an exclusive penthouse only fuels those narratives. Meanwhile, Australian authorities refused to release her nationality or other personal details, citing privacy laws. So secrecy heightens the mystique and, for some, the suspicion. The story has also become a canvas for larger frustration. In China, social media users linked Yang's case to grievances about income inequality and corruption. The BBC notes that recent scandals involving wealthy or well-connected figures have made netizens particularly sensitive to any hint of privilege. Commentators quipped that Yang is a real-life Tianlongren, an untouchable aristocrat from the popular Chinese manga One Piece, and wonder whether she will receive special treatment. So what's next? So where does the case stand now? As of this recording, Yang remains free on bail under strict conditions that include a nightly curfew and thrice weekly check-ins with police and a ban on driving, total ban. The next hearing on October 17 will require her to attend in person and enter a plea. Prosecutors are expected to present evidence of her blood alcohol level, accident reconstruction, dashcam footage, and statements from witnesses. If she pleads guilty or is convicted of dangerous driving causing grievous bodily harm, she could face up to 7 years in prison. If the court accepts a plea to just negligent driving, she might receive a much lighter sentence, maybe just several months. For George Plethers, the injured driver and his family, the legal process cannot undo the injuries he suffered. The Daily Mail reports that his spine, ribs, hips, and femurs were broken, and his spleen and diaphragm, they were ruptured, and his abdomen, it was torn open, very cruel. And he spent weeks in intensive care and has undergone multiple surgeries and will likely live with permanent disability. His employer, Kyle Sandilands, has described him as the greatest employee ever and expressed hope for his recovery. Whatever verdict the court reaches, the human cost of that 3:30 a.m. crash remains enormous. So let me share some closing thoughts. As a talk show host, it's tempting to focus on the sensational elements. The Rolls-Royce that cost more than a Beverly Hills mansion, the luxury penthouse, the designer outfits. But beneath the glamour is a sobering story about the consequences of a reckless driving. A 52-year-old man's life has been forever changed. A young woman faces serious criminal charges, and the community restless, with questions of justice and privileges. The young Lanlan case also shows how quickly a local incident can become a global sensation in the age of social media. Rumors travel faster than official statements, and facts often get drowned out by the speculations. If you take nothing else from this data, remember this: expensive cars and mysterious backgrounds make great headlines, but the truth usually lies somewhere between the memes and the court documents. Okay, we'll continue following the case as it unfolds. Until next time, drive safely, question the rumors, and remember, even if you can afford 2 Rolls-Royce, you still have to obey the law. Okay, thank you.